So it's exciting to be here to talk about artificial intelligence and the AI revolution and what it is doing to transform, every other thing around it. Seems like everything AI touches, it turns to gold. I don't know how many of you watched the Google CEO Sundar Pichai at the just recently concluded Google I/O. On opening day, he started talking about artificial intelligence, and it's was rumored that the company grew by about $54 billion in market share. It's around 4.9% increase on that day, that jump on the market. And he had mentioned artificial intelligence about 131 times throughout the entire conference that day, and that if you divide it, the mention of AI added about 380 something million dollars to their market cap each time it was mentioned. So it's interesting because artificial intelligence seems to sort of impact everything that it touches. And as an AI evangelist, I spent the last decade educating people about cutting edge technology, and the most recent part of the last 5 years specifically on artificial intelligence through one of the companies I co-founded called Coven Labs. So the over 300 of us that are in the room today, your interest will be diversified. I heard somebody giving a testimony about DABA school helping them to get knowledge on cryptocurrency and markets and the stock market and all of that. Excellent. You might be interested in core financial services. Another person might be interested in virtual reality, or gaming or the metaverse. So what I've seen myself do in the last 5 years is to stay at the cutting edge of innovation. And today, because I apply artificial intelligence in financial technology, for all things like fraud prevention, sales prediction, and everything from customer service success, to actual deep learning and generative adversarial networks. And before I sound too gibberish, and talking about all these terms, I'm not quite sure if it's everybody on this conference today who has a clear understanding of what artificial intelligence even is. So, in simple terms, for those who are not super familiar, at least you've heard about ChatGPT. It went so mainstream, and you saw like how the chatbot, or the chat interface answers your questions and generates, content for you. But artificial intelligence is the attempt of computer scientists to imitate human intelligence and maybe surpass it. So the whole concept of artificial intelligence is to essentially allow a computer to mimic human intelligence. So everything humans can do, listen to speech, comprehend it, provide responses, and all of that. Now, from time immemorial, humans have been responsible for creating things. We are so ingenuine, our species transformed everything. Our planet has been, alive for, I don't know, maybe 6 billion years. And in all those time, it is basically the last 15 minutes. If you think about 6 billion years on the scale of a day, 24 hours in a day, it is basically at 11:45 p.m. that our species came on the scene. So we've only been around for a few million years, our species. And in that time that we've existed, we've created so much impact on that space that we exist in. So we invented everything from merchant banking to electricity to transportation to blockchain, cryptocurrency, the computers, internet. We're good with creating stuff. We're good with imagining and building stuff. We're good at interpreting our environment and basically creating solutions from that. We're really good at that. So artificial intelligence basically is an attempt of computers, which is one of our creations, to essentially mimic human intelligence. So that said, then I'll go a little deeper, hoping that those who join this particular session are those who like to learn more about like what my thoughts are around how artificial intelligence can help us to attain financial dominion. I just finished an interview just a couple of moments ago. An interviewer was asking me about what I thought about how artificial intelligence is going to impact our world and whether or not it's going to take our jobs, and whether it's going to be the end of our species. And if you've seen my book, A to Z of AI Consulting, I have on the cover page a combination of my face and that of a robot. And my message, basically with that cover page is to be able to tell folks or sort of inspire folks that, hey, look, the advent of artificial intelligence is not essentially here to erase our species. What I think is that artificial intelligence has come to heighten our human intelligence, combined with it to help us to be a lot more productive, to be a million times more effective and efficient with what we do, to focus on actual things that matter, to leave every other thing that maybe we do for work today to be automated by machines so that we can focus on our humanity and do more interesting things. So essentially, what am I saying in essence? I'm saying that I'm on that side of that divide because there are two sides, there are two zones you can be with artificial intelligence. You can either be on the zone of, I'm afraid of this is going to kill us all, or you can be on the zone of, hey, I think that this is going to change everything for me. What are those things you do today that are so mundane, repetitive tasks? Artificial intelligence is here to take them away. Why do you have to do them again? Like if I'm coming to this conference to speak about artificial intelligence for financial dominance, and I can actually make an avatar of myself presenting live at this session, I would rather do that. I'd rather do that and maybe go on to do something else with my time. So essentially, or I can say I choose to have that human interaction with everybody here, and I want to feel the natural, experience with the people that are here. But I should be able to choose to say everything that is repetitive or that I have to do over and over again. For example, granting interviews at my current organization is something I'm considering. Is there a way I can provide some form of intelligence that can answer these interview questions for me so that I don't have to do it by myself? And so that I can do other things that I love, like going to play golf or just doing other things. So I'm on that side, that LD side that says artificial intelligence is actually here to stay and it will help us to make our lives better. And today on this call, I'm going to share perhaps a few tools that I strongly feel that could help folks that are interested in advancing their knowledge of artificial intelligence or maybe even directly applying artificial intelligence to the line of work that they are trying to do. But before we get to that, how did my interest in artificial intelligence impact my work or even take me to this very point? Artificial intelligence is something I've been personally passionate about, but it's not always been like that. So I studied computer science in the university, and my first experience of anything remotely close to artificial intelligence will be a course called Expert Systems. So expert systems essentially is a field of computing that seeks to transfer the knowledge of an expert. So think about like a professor of, let's say, physics that is going to be dying, and then you can transfer the knowledge of that professor onto a computer, and then that computer can continue to provide information to people. So essentially, that's how I started getting interested in artificial intelligence. Then when I joined Microsoft a couple of years after, I found that their cloud services, Azure, provided a very strong platform for machine learning, which is a field of artificial intelligence. And I stumbled on a research that there's going to be a need for more than 1.5 million data scientists in the United States over the next couple of years. And as somebody who studies prescience and also studies trends and being a futurist in my own right, I essentially thought, if these guys are going to need data scientists within the next couple of years, why don't I set up a program that actually trains data scientists? And that's how we started Coven Labs, to focus on teaching people Python and R, which are two strong languages that you need to be a data scientist. But why does the United States need 1.5 million data scientists by the year 2021? Because I stumbled on this research in 2017, 2018. It is because they are building something phenomenal and they want to win the AI race. Now, as you can see, with OpenAI creating ChatGPT, for those of you that are not familiar with it, it's one of the most powerful chatbots in the world. And clearly you can see that is demonstrated by Microsoft's recent investment of $10 billion into the OpenAI, which is basically the company that owns ChatGPT. So today, GPT-3, which basically blew the world apart with more than 100 million users, I guess, daily active users, that totally changed everything for everybody. And now GPT-4 became a platform that can now provide and create multi-dimensional code that can essentially do phenomenal things like just generating poems and articles, to be able to write code, explain why, do data visualization. But just dress it back a little. America was preparing 4 years prior for that particular revolution so they can dust every other country and show them that they're the boss, right? Now, how can we as Africans position ourselves for this AI revolution? There are a couple of ideas that I have. One of it is you need to be grounded in the knowledge of artificial intelligence. And if you were around in a hall now, I would say, can you echo that for me? You have to be grounded in the knowledge of artificial intelligence. And it doesn't matter whether or not you studied computer science in college, or whether you are a professional in that field. It just means you need to know enough. It's called being generally special and being specially general. Know a little of everything and one thing, a little of everything and everything about something. So you're especially general and you're generally special. So as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, I would want to take a course, a simple course on artificial intelligence for everyone, something that breaks it down, that makes it super simple to understand, right? I made a course like that and I'll be doing a relaunch of it later this month called Artificial Intelligence Consulting, how to explain AI to an 8-year-old. Another course I find very, very interesting, is a course that was created by Andrew Ning a couple of years ago, which is called AI for Everyone. Andrew Ning is spelled Andrew Ning. And basically, this guy is on Coursera and is the co-founder of Coursera, created this course AI for Everyone that can help you get a general grasp of what artificial intelligence is. For some people, it might be a little technical, but there are parts of it that will at least give you an idea of how this is working. What's the relevance of data when you're trying to understand artificial intelligence? Because there is no artificial intelligence without data. If we don't have data, we can't train machines. If machines do not have enough data points, we can't do what we need to do. Of course, there are lots of conversations today about creating models that require very little data versus creating models that require very, very high amount of data to be able to function successfully. So, friends, first thing is be grounded in the knowledge of artificial intelligence. Number two is determine how you want to use artificial intelligence to impact your business. So this is it. In my book, A to Z of AI Consulting, one of the things I opened the book with is to be able to explain to folks that people don't care much about artificial intelligence as much as they care about what artificial intelligence can do for them. So I drew two circles. These two circles are separate. When you overlap them with each other, the intersection point of circle A and circle B is basically what artificial intelligence can do for you. So people don't care much about what artificial intelligence can do, as much as they care about what artificial intelligence can do for them. All right. So this AI, this is their business. And when you intersect it together, is really what AI can do for me. So you need to ask yourself, what are those things that I do today that are repetitive? Do I write articles? Do I have to write emails? Do I have to compose announcements? Do I have to write sales copies? Do I have to review data points? Do I have to, what exactly am I trying to do today? Maybe you are somebody that has to look at records and sales, and you want to be able to use artificial intelligence to make inferences. The beautiful thing is today, artificial intelligence itself is being built into many mainstream products. So there are tools that are core AI tools, and they're actual productivity tools that you use day by day that are now carrying artificial intelligence. So Microsoft PowerPoint has a feature called Design Ideas. Design Ideas basically comes up with different design ideas, as the name implies, for you. Now, using generative adversarial networks, Microsoft is improving design ideas to not only come up with a set of finite designs, but to be able to create unique designs for you. During Google I/O, for example, Google was explaining that Google Photos will now allow you to be able to use text to generate images that you can use as your wallpaper on your Pixel phone that do not belong to any other person, meaning that artificial intelligence is going to generate a picture that essentially belongs to you, which is why the whole concept of NFT was singularly affected very strongly with this kind of generative adversarial networks. So in the past, artists would draw and take their time, and then now you use Adobe Illustrator, to draw, and even as an artist, Adobe Illustrator drawings can still be considered the original work. Now, the higher level of that is to use artificial intelligence to generate an artwork just by virtue of typing a few texts. Now, who should get the rights? You or the artificial intelligence? Now, I leave that to a symposium discussion. So essentially, you must think about being grounded, number one. Number two, thinking about how AI can affect your business. And there are certain tools today that totally are game changers for a lot of us who are early adopters. If you use ChatGPT, I make announcements a lot on LinkedIn. And I usually basically compose my announcements using ChatGPT. I just make a few differences. If you want to really make it genuine and original, you want to do it, generate it 2 or 3 more times, add your own flavor, ask it to write like you, ask it to add a few words, give it some nuances, like make it compassionate, make it funky, make it nice, make it goofy. You can put all of that and it's going to make all of those changes for you, right? Notion.ai is also a really important tool that a lot of people use to be able to make stuff happen. I can generate sales training. Let me give you an example of what I did. I wanted to make sure that my sales team are up to speed, and I don't want to hire an entire learning organization. So I went into Notion and I just said, hey, Notion, can you create for me a sales training for my team, and had the YouTube links to it. And basically went across YouTube, identified the content that is even more powerful than GPT, and gave me the links to all of the YouTube content and pulled them into Notion, and I can simply copy that page and give it to my team. So think about, what is it that you do today? Data analysis that you do with Excel. You can carry that entire Excel sheet, upload it into GPT-4, and basically it would analyze all of the data in it, give you insight onto what you can do, and you can ask natural questions just like that. There is Synthesia, Synthesia.ai. Synthesia, just like Pictory. Pictory is Pictory. Pictory. Synthesia is Synthesia, just like synthesis. Synthesia. Synthesia basically helps you to be able to create videos, hyper-realistic videos with models, AI models that can basically help you to build a course, to build a program for your employees, or to even represent you in an event. So I am working on creating my avatar on Synthesia so that I can ask GPT to basically generate a speech for me at an event, and my avatar can stand in front of the sessions and basically do the sessions for me. And very soon, other tools that exist will be able to translate that in one-on-one parity into Japanese, French, Swahili, and any of the other languages out there. Can't you imagine that kind of world where everything we want to do is just like imaginably possible at the tip of our fingers? And things like drug discovery, predicting a pandemic, and all of those kind of things would be a lot easier, So it's super interesting, scary for some people, but yes, we need a few scared people to be able to maintain the balance of the guardrails, ethics of how we operate with artificial intelligence. Because of our time, the next one will be identify what artificial intelligence tools you can offer for sale to others. Now, this is where it gets interesting because it's directly connected to financial dominance. A lot of organizations today want to see the value artificial intelligence brings to their work. And they just need one diligent person who can make inferences and package it into seminars, workshops, training programs, mini courses that can explain and bring the magnificence of artificial intelligence into simple realities that everybody can understand regardless of their work. What does this mean? It means there's an infinite amount of departments, dimensions that you can describe and sell artificial intelligence to. You can essentially create a program and say AI for fashion, AI for crypto traders, AI for blockchain analysis, AI for bakers, AI for bankers and accountants, AI for management consultants, AI for, just imagine, the dimensions are infinite. So in determining what products and services you can sell education, you can sell conversational AI, which is basically a set of tools that people need to customize to their own place of work today. So as beautiful and as grand as ChatGPT is, a lot of people want to integrate GPT technology, which is the underlying technology of ChatGPT, into their own domain-specific work. So you know about Leo by UBA. you know about SAM by Stanbic IBTC. Now, many of these chatbots are not necessarily built on natural language models or large language models like ChatGPT. Many of them are limited by the set of rules that have been described for those first generation chatbots. So essentially, people are looking for ways to carry the hyper influential, hyper intelligent ChatGPT or GPT technology as it is. They want to be able to put that and customize it to a unique scenario. So a bank really wants Leo to be as intelligent as ChatGPT, but focused only on what UBA has to offer. Another bank basically wants Sam to be as intelligent as ChatGPT, but basically focused on what Stanbic IBTC offers. So a law court, let's say the Nigerian Judicial Council, would love it if people have an avenue to provide suggestions to the judiciary and being able to undo millions of those inquiries around the same time. Maybe Nigerian government is going to need artificial intelligence to be deployed in the next census. So you have to begin to think about what those offerings could be for private sector, for public sector, and for civil society. For some of you on this call, your entrepreneurial flame could be, fanned the more and sort of like helped to grow by realizing that whatever it is that you're working on right now, finding an artificial intelligence dimension to that one thing could change everything for you. As a matter of fact, we have a joke now where, quite frankly, quite frankly, we have a joke now. Now some of you are distracting me in the comments because that's sort of funny. You need to think about the dimensions you can apply artificial intelligence to governance, to civil society. And okay, yeah, we have a joke. Yeah, I remember now. We have a joke where we talk about the fact that if you want to raise money now, especially with the AI boom, all you just need to do is to say, I use AI for X, Y, Z. I use AI for X, Y, Z. There are a couple of you just talking in the chat comments. I will try to see if I can digress. I see somebody saying AI for judiciary, they won't allow such. So the kind of people I care about are those who are visionary enough to accept that impossibility is nothing. I personally detest it when people say things like something is impossible or somebody won't allow something, especially if you have not attempted, to do it before. So actually, there are courts today, both federal high courts, state courts, local government courts, that if you provide things that will make their life better, they will be more than happy to accept it. So always think about like what the opportunities are and begin to push yourself in that direction. So I started talking to entrepreneurs before I got distracted. Entrepreneurs on this call who feel like, what is the next thing I should be doing? What should I be doing? Where should I be? I will tell you, be on the bleeding edge of innovation. Be on the bleeding edge of innovation. Right now, artificial intelligence is making waves, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be like that for the longest time. Truly, the internet hasn't gone anywhere, but the internet isn't the internet. You don't express shock when you hear about the internet. Social media isn't going nowhere, but you don't express shock when somebody says Instagram or TikTok. No. But when you hear about new tools in artificial intelligence, you're like, wow. Why? Because this is the season for it. So what do I mean in essence is this. For whatever work that you are doing, for whatever business you're trying to build, consider how artificial intelligence can drive better results for it. And for those of you who are young, if you are under 20 here, I challenge you. Don't just think about what artificial intelligence can do to impact your line of work. Actually, seek to be a practitioner. What do I mean by this? Seek to be a practitioner. Think about what you can do, all right? Think about what you can do as a person to be a practitioner. What I mean by this, consider learning a programming language. Python, Golang, any of these languages that drive artificial intelligence today, you need to go and learn. You have no excuse. You're young, you're viral, you need to go on to learn these things. So that the next 5 years, before you are 25, you're a practitioner who is super valuable. So valuable. Someone with so much depth in the scheme that you can essentially save us. When I mean save us, I mean make Africa not lose out in this current revolution. So that in 3 to 4 years, they can say, A new language model has just emerged from Ahmadu Bello University or from University of Lagos or from anywhere else that you are. As someone under 20, you're probably still in college. That new language model was developed by a student who has been practicing and working on this and that. So I would encourage you, definitely beyond thinking about the money, think about embracing the value of being a creator within the field, thinking about what is the next level. There are levels of accuracy that have still not been achieved, many of which require a lot of computing power and just the genius of a few. So you want to think about what you can do to be at that point to be able to do that. But trust me, I have used artificial intelligence as an AI consultant to be able to get a lot of value from my customers, from my clients, and eventually even from people that I'm serving through my current venture. So this AI revolution has come to stay. Change your mindset. Allow yourself to accept the fact that the same way we didn't have the title social media manager 15 years ago, now it's a thing. Content creators, many titles. There were no data scientists, particularly. They were just called computer scientists. Over a decade ago, they were just called computer scientists. Some of them did computer science focused on data analysis, computer science with options in data science. They just simply use C++ to analyze data. They didn't call themselves data scientists. After a couple of years, that field began to emerge. Now, I read a Forbes article 3 years ago that there will not be data scientists by the year 2030. That data science has only 10 years more. Why? Because artificial intelligence is now taking the role of data scientist. So if artificial intelligence can take the role of data scientist, then you can think about it. If you are a personal assistant or an office manager or anything like that, think about how much of your skill set. So I don't see artificial intelligence taking out entire jobs. I see it gradually impacting the task that entire jobs have to do, such as, imagine if you are a personal assistant, and ideally what you would do is that you would go on and, pick up, the schedule of your manager, and of the person that your personal assistant to, and basically begin to organize. Today, people will use artificial intelligence to do that. Before, you used to have secretaries who would take notes. Now you have Firefly's AI and some of the other note takers that can take notes in meetings. So entire tasks are being removed. And then what now happens is that the people who hired people to do those jobs in the past, to do those roles, will begin to rethink about the value of that particular person. Should I still continue to pay this person? Does it make sense at all? And so on and so forth. So entire skills will be eliminated. Entire, tasks will be eliminated because of artificial intelligence. So now you have to begin to think about. What are those other things that I can begin to do? What are those other things that I can begin to create? What are those other things that I can begin to express? What new job titles are going to exist? So when ChatGPT came on board, for instance, we had a new, role that sort of came onto play. People now are asking, how do I know the right questions to ask ChatGPT? These questions are usually called prompts. How do I know the right prompts? And then a new role title came out called prompt engineering. I imagine that. Prompt engineering. So by the next couple of years, who knows? Who knows exactly? I know there's going to be a lot of roles in ethics and governance of artificial intelligence. So if you are someone who works on the sidelines of governance, ethics, policy making, you have a huge role to play. And you can think about the intersection of policy and artificial intelligence so that you can be very useful. Governments are going to need you to draft policies. They're going to need to enforce policies. They're going to need folks who can, question, private sector. So there is a lot of knowledge that needs to be gathered around this field. Just like the internet came and created millions of jobs and wiped out several millions as well, artificial intelligence is here to create, many jobs, many dimensions, but also eliminating quite a lot of dimensions as well. So begin to think about what are those new areas. What about bias management? There's a lot of questions around bias in artificial intelligence. What kind of data are we training the artificial intelligence with? And if we can think about the kind of data, is this data, biased, or is this data a true reflection of what it should be? Because if we feed in bad data to artificial intelligence, or if we train it on the wrong ideas, like training up a child, then we can bring ourselves into, greater dilemmas in the future. I would recommend this Netflix show for you guys to watch called Coded Bias. Coded Bias basically is a brainchild of a certain researcher in MIT, an African young African girl who basically decided that she was going to take on Microsoft and IBM, a lady actually, who said she was going to take up Microsoft and IBM and other big techs on how they are training their artificial intelligence models with data sets that are essentially biased, meaning that they do not value, black skin color, and those image sets do not have a lot of black people in them, making the models very, very biased to white people. And she started challenging it. So bias management will be another thing. These are titles that you may not have heard about, but over the next couple of years, you will start seeing them emerging. So if you're somebody thinking of choosing a field to work on, begin to think about artificial intelligence in financial technology, artificial intelligence in education. Begin to think about different, if you're thinking of thesis to write, if you're thinking of papers to write, if you're thinking of areas of research, artificial intelligence for the judiciary. Somebody should actually take up that, and say, okay, I want to research on artificial intelligence judiciary. What are the barriers to adoption of artificial intelligence in the judiciary? That would be an interesting research point to actually take part to. And all of this can set you up for life, because you can decide, maybe you went on to listen to me and learn programming and learn Python, and 3-4 years down the line, you've created this tool that can do XYZ, and you've patented it. It could change your life, lift your entire family and entire generation, to another new level. So it's interesting. It's just like something I'm super excited about, and I'd encourage you guys to go check it out. Check out the Coded Bias film, and just sort of get a sense of what's going on. If you watch The Social Dilemma as well, even though it talks more about the fears around social media and social networks, you will still see the value of how corporates are using data, to create new products, to solve people's problems, but how there are concerns that some of these data points are significantly over monetized, and in many ways, the humans who use many of these social media networks are actually the products versus the product, the platform itself being the product. So it's important to sort of be so diversified. I was at a conference last week as well on artificial intelligence, or 2 weeks ago, and I was telling them the importance of spending your time going through papers and articles around artificial intelligence. There are platforms like Fast Company, platforms like Forbes, platforms like Gartner, platforms like McKinsey and Company. All of these guys have done reports on artificial intelligence that can give you in-depth knowledge. As you fellowship with knowledge and spend time with these things, it changes how you talk about these things. You're not just there talking about how AI is going to take everybody's jobs. No, you have in-depth knowledge about exactly what we're talking about and how you can begin to implement it. And this can form basis for small talk in major events. And they're like, oh, wow, this guy is really knowledgeable. That's where you want to be, because that's really what gives you the pathway. Now, anybody here who is into crypto or into, into investment and all of that, there are tools today that are analyzing data differently that I think that you might want to find out, just spend time researching and finding out how some of these things can be. Unfortunately, so I was doing a master's in artificial intelligence, and in one of my classes, one of the guys was talking about building a model that can just predict what the next stock is going to be, the next big stock, and all of that. Now, if those kind of tools are made commercial, then what would be the essence of the market? Good enough. It is human behavior that changes what the market is going to look like. Basic things like what's happening in the news, what's happening here and there can really help you. So what I would do if I were you, as somebody who maybe trades in crypto or trades in stock, and thinking about artificial intelligence would impact you, because I'm sure this is something you really want to hear, is the fact that you can use artificial intelligence to aid your decision-making process. It might not be able to tell you exactly which stock, because that would be essentially gambling, which stock exactly is going to do this or do that. But you can use artificial intelligence to filter out all of the news and provide inferences. For instance, if there has been bad sentiment in the media about a certain brand, there is a chance that it's not a good idea to go in. If you're someone who likes to buy low and you think that these guys always have periodic movements in news and sentiments, like Tesla, for example, a lot of it moves around Elon Musk's behavior. and you're able to analyze with an analyzing tool that can give you inferences. You're able to tell whether you should buy low at that time. And if high sentiment about something that is coming, maybe an announcement about some type of battery that's going to come out in Q4 of 2023, can enable you to know that that announcement, filtered news, can essentially help you to know what decision to make right now. So I wouldn't say put all your body. This is not an investment advice. Put all your mind or your body on like what an artificial intelligence told you and put all your life savings in it. That could be disastrous. But artificial intelligence can help you in thinking about what's going to happen to the S&P over the next 5 years, what's going to happen to Nasdaq, what's going to happen to this particular coin, and so on and so forth. So I thought that has been useful. I hope that this small time I've spent with you guys has really helped you to be able to think about how artificial intelligence is going to transform things. I have 26 ideas inside my book A to Z of AI consulting. It's on Amazon. It's also on my main stack store if you want a digital version. If you want the physical version, you can order it on Amazon. If you also want a physical version, you can also order it via my email. And when it's in Nigeria, somebody is going to deploy it to you or tell you what it costs to ship it to you. But basically, if you want to get it real quickly, go on Amazon or go on Mainstack and download the electronic version. On Amazon, you can buy the hard copy as well. And essentially, this book will give you 26 things I couldn't talk about on this session about how artificial intelligence will affect multiple fields of human endeavor. I hope you guys like it. I will now go on to take some questions, and I hope the organizers feel like I've been able to talk about positioning yourself for this AI revolution. Thank you guys, and it's been really nice talking to you.